What's up, guys, and welcome back to another edition of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, and I know I've been gone for a couple of weeks, guys. I've been out of town, and it really hasn't been a lot to talk about, and really that's what this video is about, letting you guys know that Terrible Towel Tuesday will take a small break, while the players are on vacation as well, and we'll pick right back up once training camp hits. Now, if anything important takes place, then we'll definitely come in and talk about that, contract signing, someone gets in trouble, the Steelers pick up somebody, the Steelers release someone, during the break, anything like that, anything that's very important and vital, we'll definitely do a show that following week after that happens. But if not, you can definitely expect for me to return, during training camp, right after training camp begins, that very first Tuesday after it begins, we'll go ahead and make something happen. And from that point on, it'll be a show every week through training camp, through the preseason, and then, of course, during the season, every single week. Now, just some couple, quick things to talk about real quick, man. In regards to contracts, Le'Veon Bell is still not under contract in terms of long term. He has not signed his tender. He is slated to be placed on the franchise tag. And I believe now, I heard the date originally was July 15th, but now I'm hearing July the 17th. So I don't know which one it is, but either way, if it's not, either the 15th or the 17th of July, if he has not reached a long-term deal, he will be playing on the franchise tag at $12 million. Now, to me, it is what it is. I know he's going to get paid. I know the Steelers want to come to an agreement. I know he wants to come to an agreement, but if he has to play on the, the franchise tag, it's kind of a win-win situation for the Steelers. I mean, we love Le'Veon Bell. Everybody knows that. But Le'Veon Bell has not been able to stay healthy. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business. I don't want to get rid of him. I'm sure the Steelers don't either. But it's kind of like, why not put him on the franchise tag? I know they'd rather do that, rather not do that because it's $12 million up front. But at the end of the day, if he has to go that route, hey, let's see what happens. Hopefully they can come to a deal. I would like for them to do that. The organization has, expressed that as well. So we'll see. Now, another thing I wanted to kind of talk about, man, in terms of Le'Veon Bell and kind of tying in, Alejandro Villanueva into this, I still would like to see him, at the facility for OTAs. I mean, I know he did show up a couple weeks ago. There was rumors or stories or reports or what have you that he was in the building, but especially during the mandatory minicamp. Now, it isn't mandatory for him because he hasn't signed the tender or what have you yet. So I get it. I'm not going to hold it against him for not doing it. I just wish he would. I wish he would be there just to be with the guys. A mandatory situation where everyone else is there. Why not be there? And the reason why I say tie in, Villanueva and all of this, Villanueva, signed the waiver and everything. He still hasn't, signed his tender, but he signed a participation waiver and all of that protects the team or what have you against injury. And he participated. He participated in all of the drills, and it wasn't even mandatory for him to be there either. Again, with Le'Veon Bell's situation, it's a little different because Bell has the injury that he's nursing. I get that. And I'm not asking for him to participate. All I'm asking is why not be there? You know what I mean? And listen, I'm not holding anything against Le'Veon Bell. I'm just saying, from one man's opinion, one fan's opinion, why not be there, and kick it with the fellas? It's a couple days, even if you're not going to be at the OTAs, at least do the mini camp. And, that's just how I feel about that. So I would have loved to have seen him there. The only other thing, man, that I can really talk about at this moment, a couple things. Big Ben, that he said that Martavis Bryant is looking like a stud. That is absolutely great news. Still hearing good news about TJ Watt. It's phenomenal to hear that, but we're going to find out come 5 weeks or so when they put those pads on. So, you know, it's good stuff that I'm hearing. Cam Sutton is, you know, getting a little more noise right now, getting a few more things talked about. So that's good to hear all of that. All of the guys, man, that we're expecting to see do something seems to be, you know, some news coming out. Now, here's a funny one. Golson. You know, if you guys saw the interview with Cornell Lake said, you know, Golson at this point is looking like he may have to make the team as a special teamer. That's interesting. You know, maybe he's not as fast anymore. Maybe, you know, his footwork and all that is not as clean or not as good anymore since his injuries. We don't know. We'll see much more when the pads come on. But that's very interesting to see a position coach, you know, hear him say that in this stage, that he feels like his path to making the 53-man roster is through special teams. That means he's going to have to come into training camp and ball out. Ball out. And it's unfortunate, man, because he caught those injuries early. I really feel bad for him because Golson is a guy I still feel like, based off of his college pedigree, based off of his resume, I think he would have had a lot to offer to the Steelers. And I'm not going to, you know, close the door on him just yet. Again, he's coming into camp. He's going to have an opportunity. But it's just not good, you know, hearing that from the position coach already. That's interesting. But hey, if that's the path that he has to take, hey, make the 53-man roster through special teams and then get yourself on the field. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. And there's a lot of guys who've come through the Steelers camp in the years who've made special teams and end up playing, you know, getting actual playing time, if not becoming a starter. So I ain't mad at that. It's just that, you know, it makes me go, just a little bit to hear that so early. Let me see what else. There's some predictions out there saying that Joshua Dobbs could possibly be the number 2, you know, starting the season. I'm not too sure about that. We'll see. You know, again, preseason and training camp is going to determine a lot when pads and things are on, and when you're in a real game-like situation. Preseason is going to be very important for a lot of the draft picks that we're rooting for. Same thing as like every year, but particularly this year because quarterback is definitely an area of concern for us all behind Ben Roethlisberger. We don't know if Ben Roethlisberger is going to stay healthy the entire season. We don't know how many more years he's going to play. So the quarterback position is very important. Landry Jones, we've seen what he could do. I would love for someone to come in and beat him out to be the number 2 and let Landry Jones be the security blanket if necessary in the 3rd spot. So however Joshua Dobbs plays in preseason is going to be very important. Golson, we just talked about him. It's going to be very important how he performs via special teams and in his position of slot corner. Cameron Sutton, will be very interesting to see how he performs in preseason. Is this guy, does he have a starting, you know, capability? Is he slated to be the starting slot corner? Or, you know, we're also hearing that he has an opportunity to play on the outside. Will he be the type of guy that can come in and challenge Ross Cockrell? All that is yet to be determined. TJ Watt. Will TJ Watt be that guy that we expect him to be in the first year? You know, of course, it's going to be raw talent, but is he going to be a difference maker? Preseason is going to show us a lot of that. Preseason will probably determine whether or not he's the starter or he's doing more of a rotational role, which I think is going to be a rotation happening anyway with him and Harrison. But a lot of those unanswered questions. Let me see who else. Brian Allen. What is Brian Allen going to be? Preseason is definitely going to define what Brian Allen is going to be if he makes the 53-man roster. Also, William Gay. You know, not so much is preseason a deciding factor for him because I don't know. With him being a veteran, it would seem like it's his job to lose, so to speak. So it's definitely going to come down to how these other guys perform in that position to let us know whether or not William Gay makes the team or even, starts the season as a starter, which I hope he does not. I think it's time for that youth, some other guys to come in there and see what they can do. So it's a plethora of guys, man. You know, James Conner is not really somebody we got to worry about and watch. You know, he's definitely going to get the job done. He's probably going to be the number 2 running back. So however he performs, regardless, he's going to be that guy. I just want these guys to stay healthy. I just want them to stay healthy, man. I hope there's not any serious injury during preseason, to any of these guys that we're looking at, or even any of the veterans, and that covers training camp as well. I hope no one goes down with a significant injury. We've already seen some, terrible things happening, in the AFC North. The Ravens are getting hit hard. So I hope it's not the Steelers' turn, so to speak. But we know there's always some type of injury, so I hope there's not too much. And speaking of injuries, I did see that Tyson Alualu was able to participate in minicamp as well. He was nursing a hamstring injury, so that's cool, man, to see that he's able to come back. So everyone, came out of minicamp and OTAs fairly healthy. Nothing serious. Good to hear that. So we'll see how guys come into training camp. Hopefully everyone is definitely in shape. Definitely rookies. I want all of these rookies to be in mega shape. Show what you're there for. Juju Smith-Schuster, you're still hearing a whole lot about this kid. I can't wait to see how he performs in training camp and in preseason. And I got a feeling that the guys like that are going to be in shape. There's not any of the guys that I feel like I have to be concerned about. I think TJ Watt is going to be in shape, with having JJ Watt as a big brother, and even his other brother, forget his first name now, forgive me, playing in the NFL. I think he knows how to keep himself together and how to be prepared and how to hit the training camp, on the ground, hit the ground running, so to speak. So that's it, man. Not a whole lot to talk about here today, guys. Just giving you guys an outlook on training camp. Can't wait for it to get started. We're almost there, man. We're almost there. Here we are, mid-June. Before we know it, it'll be July 26th or so. I think that's when they report, and that's when it begins. And July the 30th, if I'm not mistaken, and believe it's a Sunday when the pads come on. And that's when we got football, man. And then the preseason starts right after that. And we get to see what these Steelers are made of. Last thing I will say, man, it was great to see that the Penguins brought in the Stanley Cup, and, the Steelers are taking pictures with it and all of that. We need a little motivation. I can't say that the Steelers are going to win the Super Bowl this year. Definitely can't say that when you got the Patriots out there and other teams and the AFC teams as well. But we need that motivation. They need to get motivated. They need something to make them, believe. Listen, it's your time. Go out there and get it. You were in the AFC Championship game last year. Go out there and get it, man. Go out there and get it. Do what you got to do. If you guys come together and if they gel the way they're supposed to, and the defense just rises just a bit and the offense performs the way we believe that they can, Steelers got a chance. And I'm not saying that as a Steelers fan. I'm keeping it real. You look at what the Steelers were able to accomplish last year. By no means were they a great team last year. By no means did I think that they were going to actually beat the Patriots last year, like straight up beat them. I thought if the Steelers, if we would have beat the Patriots, it would have been on they just played the perfect game. I didn't think that was going to happen. So that's why I'm saying you did all of that with all that turmoil and the struggling defense early on in the season and all of that, and you still get right there, right there. So all I'm saying, and if the defense comes around just a bit, if they increase their ranking, by 5 spots, 6 spots, 8 spots, 9 spots, just something like that, marginal improvement, and the offense is still firing on all cylinders, Steelers got a chance. They have a chance, especially now hearing that, they want to do more pattern matching. That's interesting. You hear Butler talk about that, starting to be able to do a few more things, a lot of stuff they couldn't do last year. I was glad to hear that he did admit against the Patriots, they did a lot of spot drops. And he said simply because of personnel. He didn't feel like they were capable of doing more. And this is what I was saying all along, right? I told you. The coaches know what they're doing, man. Stop beating up the coaches when you think they don't know what they're doing. The coaches know what they're doing. This year, they're looking to expand on more of that, run more man coverage, throw some pattern matching in there. So like I said, if we can increase the defense just a bit more, Steelers have a chance to be a dominant team and definitely be a contender, to make it to the Super Bowl. But we'll see. we'll see. But that's all I got for you guys. Luckily, it went longer than expected, so I did end up having something to ramble about. I appreciate you guys checking it out and watching like always. And you know the routine, man. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you go ahead and do that so you can be aware of more content that I put up. And as well, along with that, cut on your notifications so you know when that content is available. And last but not least, I promise you, it will never hurt you to hit that like button. So, all right, guys, I will catch you guys in a few weeks unless something important comes up and I need to talk about it, I will. But other than that, you can expect me to return with Terrible Towel Tuesday on the first Tuesday following training camp. All right, so that's going to do it, guys. Y'all be easy, be safe, have a nice summer, and we'll see you guys in a bit. Peace.